So it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Your Worship. The Mayor's Challenge, I believe this is the third annual Mayor's Challenge. And of course, the city of New Westminster is always pleased to participate. In answer to the challenge, I'd like to read the following two short poems, which makes one. And they fit the season, so I think it's fitting. These are actually excerpts from a book that we had the Arts Council helped us put on an event for, which was very, very nice indeed. The city is very good with poets, writers, everything literary. The city of New Westminster is terrific. So the first poem is called Signature. A winter's day on the road to hope. I gaze through the passenger window. Trees pass by. Ink blots, blurs of green against the sky's gray blouse. Unframed paintings, moving still life. Monet dreams, dreaming against a wonderful vision. I sit someplace between my signature and the half-written page. The waning fog flows into the hard-edged corner of a wayward star. I watch the world dim in slow motion fade out as I sign my name to another day pass away. Thank you. It feels strange holding this little thing here. It's like a little alien in my hand. And this next one's called Blue Silence. Just a little background on this. A winter's day, a lake, mountains in the background, a crisp morning where you're just out there enjoying nature. In this slow grooved moment of powdered blue silence, the glide of nature's paintbrush and the whisper of the wind are the only sounds we hear. At the water's edge, a cold damp creeps into our feet, winding itself up our legs like an icy vine. We rub our hands together, thinking it may warm our legs and hold the numbness at bay. But the numbness continues to climb. We begin a slow jog around the lake, fogged breath blowing back in our face, peppering the chilled air, making it bearable, almost welcome. The lake, as we jog, whispers secrets to us, and the wind blushes our cheeks a rosier shade of red. We are being painted into nature's blue silence, quite unaware that we are the artists.
Candace, before you start the remainder of your information to us, I'd like you to tell us about the poetry book that you had and the title.
Oh, yes. Well, the interesting thing about the title, the poetry book is called Ekphrasticism Painted Words, and it is ekphrastic poetry. Anything ekphrastic is when you take one medium of art to describe another medium of art. So ekphrastic poetry, that's what it is. But I thought ekphrastic sounded too harsh. Ekphrastic. So I thought I should call it ekphrasticism. So I looked it up on Google, but there's no such a word. But I liked the way it sounded, and I thought, well, that's poetic license. So I call it ekphrasticism. And it does sound nicer.
Yeah, I like it.
sounds a lot nicer, not quite so hard and harsh. So my report to City Council, my last report was on July the 8th, 2013. And today I'd like to give an update on the activities I've been engaged in as the city's poet laureate and also on the Royal City Literary Arts Society. So with my personal itinerary, I launched the 3rd annual Royal Cities Poets Anthology in November of 2013 with City Councillor Chuck Huckmeyer participating in the project with 2 of his poems. Great. Chuck has been a great supporter of my endeavors and his efforts are truly appreciated. The first Royal City Poets Anthology in 2011 had 19 poets. It grew to 26 in 2012, and it has peaked thus far in 2013 to 40 poets. So it's growing. It has been ordered in libraries coast to coast. True fact. I'm very, very, very pleased with that. So our local poets are receiving nationwide exposure. 2 of my manuscripts have been published in the form of poetry. The book Shorelines, which was launched in August 2013, is a poetry book with artwork by 8 different local artists. And Ekphrasticism, launched in February 2014 at the Arts Council's Queen's Park Gallery, is a 178-page book which has full-color paintings on the page next to the poem inspired by each of the paintings by visual artist Don Ortolans, who I'm sure a lot of you know. He's a wonderful painter. I also featured on a CD of poetry and music put together by Kyle Honk of the Bohemian Press in Vancouver. This CD will be released in May of this year, and I was pleased to spend over an hour presenting a poetry recital and questions and answers session at McGee Secondary School in Vancouver in January of this year. Since July 2013, I featured at Bohemian Caress in Vancouver, White Rock Library, Richmond Library, Surrey Library, the Festival of Volunteers, Families Day, International Women's Day, and I'm scheduled to feature actually tomorrow night at Burnaby's Spoken Ink and International Poetry Day for the League of Canadian Poets. And it goes on and on, so I mean, I'll just stop there. There's 25 pages now. So I'll move on to the Royal City Literary Arts Society. This was formed because there didn't seem to be really something in US that encompassed all writers on a grand scale. And everything I do, I like to try and do it on a grand scale and have everybody join in. And it's been doing really well. So we founded it in December of 2012, and in a little over a year we have over 80 members, and we have put on 15 workshops and presentations so far. And over and above our weekly Poetic Justice and our summer Poetry in the Park series, we've started a Songwriters Night weekly, Short Story Night monthly, Wordplay monthly, which is writing prompts and people giving each other their own criticisms, and a Poetry Wars session, which is a it's not what it sounds like. I don't know why it's called Poetry Wars. The lady that's putting it on wanted to call it that, but they sit around and they write poetry, and then they have ideas, and they try and just enhance each other's work and help each other. So that's been going very well. And that's about all I've been doing. I'd like to say that New Westminster is a community rich with literary talents. And now that we have our own Literary Arts Society, people have started coming out to our workshops and open mics and growing their confidence and honing their talents. We personally, myself personally, and the Royal City Literary Arts, we want to thank the City of New Westminster, the New Westminster Public Library, the Arts Council of New Westminster, the Heritage Grill, and Renaissance Books for their ongoing support. We couldn't do it without all the support we have, and the City of New Westminster and City Council have been terrific to us, and we love you. Thanks so much.
Very good, and we couldn't do it without you. So that's the start of it. I'll open up any questions that you might have from council. And
I just,
Council Williams, please.
yes, I just have a comment. When Candace came to our International Women's Day fundraiser, it was the theme of bread and roses. In other words, give us bread and give us roses. And I just chatted with Candace on the phone for a few minutes and told her a little bit about the background and what's going to happen. And I asked her, or invited her to write a poem. I think she phoned me back the same day. Excuse me, I have a cold. The same day with a beautiful poem. And it's just lovely. And I'd like to actually publicly ask you if you could use that and put it in our newsletter. Because we'd love to have it.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Anything I write, I want everybody to enjoy it, and even those that don't want to enjoy it, I'd like them to read it anyway.
Okay, but anyway, it was brilliant. So, I mean, don't hesitate to contact Candace if you have something that it would be suitable to have a poem to it. Because I know that Wait For Me Daddy is coming, and that's something we're going to keep in mind as well.
It was my pleasure to
It
be
was
with.
fun to have you there.
It was
Thank you.
great.
She may have one of them already, a challenge. Thank you very much for coming, Candace. It's a
Thanks.
pleasure having you. Thank you for all your hard work.
My pleasure.